T.I.'s son, King. King Harris has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to his actions.
Still trying to coddle him for. Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
Celebrity stories rarely get this dark, even for the Harris family, who've seen their share of public drama. Tonight, King Harris is in the ICU, bruised and bloodied, after what insiders describe as a brutal ambush inside a Georgia prison. Sources report that King was barely conscious when he was rushed under heavy guard to the infirmary as officers scrambled to break up a full-scale riot that erupted in his block. Right now, the Harris family is in full crisis mode. Phones ringing constantly, hushed conversations, and no clear way forward. And make no mistake, this wasn't just some random fight.
He's like that. So him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12. So, you know, it just, he.
As insiders claim, this wasn't a random fight. It was a calculated setup, a payback move, or maybe even a chilling reminder that behind prison walls, fame offers no protection. Social media erupted within minutes. Feeds overflowed with speculation, conspiracy theories, and live commentary, pointing to a simmering beef that had finally boiled over. One source close to the Harris family claimed King had been marked for humiliation long before the attack. Another, with ties to prison staff, described him as a pariah, resented for his famous last name, mocked for trying to stand on business, and dismissed as too soft for prison life. Anonymous voices even say King was warned to keep a low profile, but his bold attitude and flashy image only drew more attention. In the end, those warnings turned into reality. That's when T.I. reportedly snapped into crisis mode. Word is, he hasn't slept since the incident, burning up the phones, calling lawyers, politicians, and even longtime rivals with influence inside Georgia's prison system. One Atlanta insider says,
I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle. Right. That does come with some, you know, it's some adversity. Mm-hmm. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your business.
Yeah. I graduated. That's the only good thing they posted of me going viral. I'm not on the media's good side. I don't know why, but
he's reportedly ready to write any check, call in any favor, and cut any deal, all in a desperate bid to get King out before it's too late. But behind closed doors, even the so-called King of the South is starting to look like a father pushed to the brink. Meanwhile, Tiny has been rallying publicists, attorneys, and crisis managers as if she's running a full-scale war campaign. Yet insiders whisper that the famous Harris family unity is beginning to fracture. Friends close to them say the pressure has sparked explosive arguments between T.I. and Tiny, and it's unclear whether they're fighting to save their son or fighting each other as the stress mounts. The whispers surrounding the attack keep growing darker. Some sources claim this wasn't about petty beef at all, but tied to a failed contraband deal. The story goes that King either refused to cooperate or tried to outsmart the wrong clique, a move that, in a place like prison, can mark you for violent retaliation. One insider insists King was deliberately set up, lured into a corner where at least 3 inmates ambushed him just as the security cameras mysteriously went dark. The Department of Corrections denies there was any technical glitch, but a former road manager for T.I. didn't mince words.
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So if the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I.
This is Georgia. Cameras break when they need to break. That one line from a former insider says it all. And the cameras weren't the only thing working against King Harris. His last name alone has made him a bigger target than most. The old trafficking allegations that once shook T.I. and Tiny never really faded in the public eye. Sabrina Peterson, the former friend who ignited that scandal, even threatened to drop so-called receipts that would allegedly tie King into the controversy. Federal authorities never pressed charges, but in the court of public opinion, the stain never washed away. Add to that the whispers about a hidden ledger, broken street promises, and accusations of snitching, and King's presence behind bars became a magnet for resentment. To some inside, he wasn't just another inmate, he was a symbol, a chance to settle old scores. The pressure isn't just on King. It's tearing his family apart. Insiders describe T.I. and Tiny's relationship as ready to explode. Tiny is said to be pushing for a softer, more careful approach, while T.I. is going harder, convinced that only power and connections can save their son. One source close to the family swears this is the darkest chapter they've ever faced. Darker than the TV show cancellation, darker than the lawsuits, darker even than the viral Falcons game headlock incident. Fans still remember that moment, T.I. yanking King into a headlock on Instagram Live and shouting, "You are embarrassing yourself and your family." Back then it seemed like a low point. Now, with King in a hospital bed and the family's private pain spilling across the internet, it looks more like a warning sign of the tragedy to come. Inside prison walls, the danger isn't just physical, it's psychological. Every stare, every whisper can be a weapon. King walked in already marked. Some inmates looked at his private school past, his reality TV upbringing, his famous parents, and felt pure resentment. Others mocked his attempts to stand on business, saying his life never matched the streets he rapped about. That tension isn't unique to King. High-profile inmates often find that fame isn't protection, it's bait. We've seen the same pattern play out with rappers, athletes, and actors who step behind bars. The higher your profile, the more valuable you are as a target. King tried to separate himself from his family's wealth. In interviews and lyrics, he insisted he hustled, struggled, and learned the code on his own. "I stand on business," he repeated. But credibility can't be inherited. And in prison, those who try too hard to prove themselves are often the first to be tested. And when they fall hardest. Friends say King was already walking a tightrope long before prison, loud and defiant one moment, showing flashes of vulnerability the next. That inner conflict finally broke under the weight of prison politics. Now, officials are reportedly working to move him for his own safety, not just to protect King, but to keep others from exploiting his fame. Meanwhile, on the outside, T.I. is fighting furiously for an early release. Public opinion is sharply divided. Supporters flood social media with prayers, while critics call it karma, a privileged kid paying the price for wearing a mask that never fit. And that's the tragedy here. Every new headline blurs the line between victim and architect. Was King pushed into this storm by a family legacy too heavy to bear, or did he step into it himself, believing fame would protect him? Behind the scenes, lawyers are burning through sleepless nights, relatives are clashing over the next move, and every new leak drags the entire Harris family deeper into the spotlight. Even the younger siblings have been pulled into the mess, dealing with renewed rumors about paternity and old family feuds. The line between private heartbreak and public spectacle has disappeared. In the end, no amount of money or fame can change the grim truth. Behind those prison walls, the only real currency is power.
So the dynamics here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting has gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this. A lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this in the public.
What began as a simple scuffle has exploded into a fight for survival, not just for King Harris, but for the Harris family legacy itself. And here's the real shocker. The most disturbing details of that ambush still haven't come to light. Whispers of secret deals, buried rivalries, and deeper betrayals remain hidden for now. But when those truths surface, the fallout could shake the Harris name to its very core. So for now, we wait. Is this the start of King's redemption arc, or the slow unraveling of an entire dynasty? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Is King simply another casualty of family fame? Or is there something far more sinister fueling this chaos? Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Pop Beat Reports channel, because when it comes to the Harris family, the next twist is never far away.